Good afternoon and welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, JIll Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at MarketSite is Shawn Cruz. He is the Manager of Trader Services over at TD Ameritrade. Thank you very much for joining us this Friday afternoon. And before we get into what's going on in the markets, because it's been a very interesting week, let's talk about TD Ameritrade launching Apple Business Chat support. What is that all about?
So it's interesting. It's actually a great new offering that we're putting out there, and it's a way for us to meet our clients in the mobile space. I think it's also interesting because it's another way for us to get our content and education that we provide. We provide that for free. It's just one more channel for us to reach out to clients and anybody who might be interested just in learning a little bit more about investing.
Yeah, even reading about it, what they've done with incorporating AI and machine learning into the platform is really interesting. But does this lend to the mobile strategy? Because it seems as if every time we speak, you're getting more and more mobile users each month.
And that's something I think you don't just see that in our space, you see that across the board. Everyone is trying to go out there and meet their customer base in the mobile space right now. I think that's just telling you that people are getting a lot more comfortable with doing day-to-day interactions on their phone. And so for us, we want to be able to meet them in that space. And I think it's a good way for us to have contact with our customers throughout all stages of the day, not just when they're trying to buy or sell a stock or a bond.
Well, I don't know about you, but it really has felt like a marathon week, and you can see that in the markets as well. We're in the thick of earnings. We saw crude oil all over the place this week, also getting impacted by tweets. And you just have the geopolitical tensions and macro headlines based on the economy. What are you looking at?
I think that's something you certainly want to keep your eye on the ball in terms of what's going to be coming out of any sort of tariff talks or international trade policy. That's going to be ongoing. I think some of the onus of that is going to get taken away, and we're going to shift into keeping an eye on earnings and what a lot of these companies are saying. So you're not even going to focus only on the numbers that they're reporting, but I think the CEO calls and what we're hearing from those CEOs about what their expectations are for the remainder of 2018 are going to be just as important as the numbers that they report.
I think it's really interesting that we've seen a number of significant beats on earnings, but we're not seeing stock price get rewarded. And it seems to be that late stage cycle is the term that we're hearing out there now. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think the bull market is really getting long in the tooth? Or
I think what you're seeing there is you're seeing solid numbers come out, and they're saying, great, that means you did well last quarter. We're looking forward. Markets are incredibly forward looking, and I think as long as you have a lot of these overhangs that we're seeing both from international trade policy, there's a few things domestically that we're trying to work through as well in terms of infrastructure. I think you need a little bit more certainty out of that before markets can really break out. And you've seen the markets stuck, a lot of these names stuck between their 50 and 200-day moving averages. That's kind of just been important ranges. I think they're going to remain in there until we get a little bit more certainty out of some of these macro concerns.
It sounds like it's not going to be quiet between Memorial Day and Labor Day for sure.
It's going to be a busy spring for sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Shawn, at MarketSite. And thank you for joining me. I'm JIll Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.